Arya, can I kiss you please? I want you. Yes, I have wanted you too.
The days fell into a pattern. Arya arrived before dawn, lost herself in her work, and tried not to think about Alara. She failed spectacularly at that last part. And then there was Lucy. Arya couldn't avoid her. Lucy stepped into the conference room where Arya was cleaning. Then she asked, "Still here?" Most people in your position don't last long. They realize they're outmatched and leave. Outmatched. Arya stopped, looking at Lucy directly. We're not in a competition, aren't we? You're new here, so let me give you some advice. Know your place. You're a cleaner. Ms. Montgomery is, well, she's everything you're not. Successful, sophisticated, brilliant. She needs someone who can stand beside her as an equal, not someone who scrubs her floors. I never said I wanted to stand beside her, Arya replied, even as her heart ached at the truth. I'm proud of what I do. There's dignity in honest work. How quaint, Lucy said mockingly. Tell yourself whatever helps you sleep at night. But stay away from Ms. Montgomery. She's not interested in charity cases. Before Arya could respond, Alara's office door opened and Alara herself emerged, her phone pressed to her ear. Her free hand gesturing expressively, heading toward the elevators. But she saw Arya. Her eyes found areas across the space, and for just a moment, her conversation faltered. She smiled, quick, private, meant only for Arya, and then she was gone, disappearing into the elevator. Lucy had seen it too. Her face flushed with anger, then she walked out of the conference room. 3 weeks into her new job, Arya's phone rang at 7:30 on a Friday evening. She was in her apartment, fresh out of the shower and contemplating whether she had the energy to make dinner or not when she saw the name on the screen. Alara Montgomery. Her heart stuttered. Alara had her number from before, from the message she'd sent after the cafe incident, but she'd never actually called. They'd maintained careful professional distance. Arya stared at the phone for 3 rings before finally answering. Hello. Arya. Alara's voice sounded strained, almost frantic. I'm so sorry to call you like this. I know it's inappropriate and you're off the clock, and I have no right to ask, but I'm desperate and I didn't know who else to call. What's wrong? Arya was already moving toward her bedroom, looking for clothes. Are you okay? I'm fine. Alara took a shaky breath. I have a meeting. A crucial meeting with potential investors from Tokyo that starts in 40 minutes. It's been scheduled for months, and if I miss it, we lose the deal. But my daughter's nanny just quit. Just walked out. Apparently, she's been stealing from me for weeks, and I just discovered it, and I told her to leave, and now I have no one to watch Olivia. Olivia? Arya repeated, processing this new information. Alara had a daughter? My daughter. She's 6 years old. Alara's voice cracked slightly. I know this is asking too much. I know I shouldn't be calling you. But Margaret spoke so highly of you, and I remembered how kind you were, and I just thought, God, I'm sorry. This is completely out of line. I'll figure something else out. I'll come, Arya interrupted. Text me your address. I'll be there as soon as I can. Are you sure? I don't want to impose. You're not imposing. Text me the address, Alara. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Thank you, Alara breathed, and the relief in her voice made Arya's chest warm. Thank you so much. I'll owe you for this. You don't owe me anything. Just text me the address. 20 minutes later, Arya arrived at Alara's mansion that looked like something out of a magazine. Are you sure this is the right place? The front door flew open before she could knock. Alara stood there, and Arya felt her breath catch. She was dressed for her meeting in a stunning burgundy dress that hugged her curves perfectly, her hair styled and elegantly. But her face was flushed, her eyes slightly wild with stress. Arya, thank God. Alara stepped back, ushering her inside. I'm so sorry about this. I wouldn't have asked if I had any other option. It's fine, really, Arya started, but her words died as she took in the interior of the house. Arya recognized from her art history classes in college. Everything was beautiful, expensive, perfect. Mama? Arya looked toward the staircase and saw a little girl descending carefully. Alara moved with confident grace. Olivia seemed almost shy, hesitant. Baby, come here, Alara said gently. I want you to meet someone. Olivia reached the bottom of the stairs and tucked herself against her mother's side, peering at Arya with curious eyes. Is she my new nanny? No, sweetheart, Alara said. This is Arya. She works at Mama's company. She's just going to spend some time with you tonight while I go to my meeting. Is that okay? Olivia studied Arya for a long moment. Then, quietly, will you read to me? Of course, Arya said, crouching down to Olivia's level. What's your favorite book? I have a lot, Olivia said seriously. But right now, I like the one about the girl who builds a rocket ship. That sounds amazing. I'd love to read it with you. Something in Olivia's expression brightened. She looked up at her mother. I like her, Mama. She has a nice voice. Alara's smile was radiant with relief. She glanced at her watch and winced. I have to go. I'm already late. She looked at Arya, and for a moment, her professional mask slipped, revealing genuine vulnerability. Go, Arya urged. We'll be fine. Won't we, Olivia? Olivia nodded shyly, already seeming more comfortable. Alara walked closely to the door, then she stood there for a moment. Arya said gently, I'll call if there are any problems. But there won't be. Go to your meeting, Olivia, and I are going to have fun. Alara looked between Arya and her daughter, something complicated moving across her face. Then she bent down and kissed Olivia's forehead. Be good for Arya, baby. Mama will be home soon. Okay, Mama. And then Alara was gone. So, Arya said, should we find that rocket ship book? 2 hours later, Arya was curled up on a massive couch in what Alara apparently called the family room, though it was larger than most people's entire living rooms. Olivia was tucked against her side, clutching a stuffed elephant, as they finished the third book of the evening. And so, Luna's rocket ship carried her home, where her family was waiting with open arms, Arya read. She had traveled to the stars and back, and she knew that no adventure would ever be quite as wonderful as the love she found at home. The end. That's my favorite part, Olivia said sleepily. The coming home part. Mine too, Arya agreed. So, how about we make some of those apple slices you like, and then I'll tuck you into bed? Olivia considered this, then nodded. Okay. And, will you stay until Mama gets home? I'll stay as long as you need me. Arya found apples and peanut butter and sliced them in the kitchen while Olivia sat at the kitchen island, closely to Arya. This house, this child, this life, it was all so far removed from Arya's world. Yet here she was, spreading peanut butter on apple slices while Olivia told her about the solar system project she was working on. At 8:30, Arya shepherded Olivia upstairs to her bedroom, which was, predictably, beautiful and filled with books and toys. Olivia changed into her pajamas and climbed into bed, patting the space beside her. Will you stay until I fall asleep? Of course. Arya replied gently, will you come back and stay with me tomorrow? Please, I enjoy staying with you, and I love you so much. The question stabbed straight into Arya's chest. How could she answer that? She wasn't Olivia's nanny. She was just the cleaner who'd happened to answer the phone. After tonight, she'd probably go back to being just another employee. Then she said gungly, yes, I will. Arya settled onto the edge of the bed, and Olivia immediately scooted closer, her small body warm and trusting against Arya's side. Within minutes, her breathing had deepened into the rhythmic pattern of sleep. Arya should have left then, should have gone downstairs to wait for Alara. But she found herself lingering, watching Olivia sleep, her heart doing strange things in her chest. This child had lost so many people already, and Alara was raising her alone. Arya didn't know where Olivia's other parents were, but they clearly weren't in the picture. How hard must it be, Arya wondered, to build an empire while also trying to be present for your daughter? To never know if the people you hired to help care for your child were trustworthy? To constantly worry that you weren't enough? She thought of the stress in Alara's voice on the phone, the vulnerability in her eyes as she'd rushed out the door. Finally, Arya carefully extracted herself from the bed and tiptoed downstairs. She settled into the family room with a book from Alera's extensive library and waited. It was nearly midnight when she heard the front door open. Arya stood as Alera entered the room, looking exhausted but triumphant. "How did it go?" Arya asked. "We got the deal," Alera said, a tired smile crossing her face. Then she looked around. "Where's Olivia?" "Asleep." Arya smiled. "She's wonderful, Alera." Alera's eyes glistened suddenly with tears. She set down her handbag and covered her face with her hands. "I'm sorry. It's been such a long day, and I was so worried and—" "Hey," Arya said softly, crossing the room to stand in front of Alera. "It's okay. You did great. You got your deal, and your daughter is safe and happy. That's all that matters." "I don't know how to do this," Alera whispered, lowering her hands. Tears tracked down her cheeks. "I don't know how to be enough for my little daughter every nanny leaves. Every time, I think maybe this one will stay." Without thinking, Arya reached out and wiped a tear from Alera's cheek with her thumb. Alera's skin was soft and warm, and the moment Arya touched her, the air between them seemed to electrify. "You are enough," Arya said firmly. "More than enough. Olivia adores you. Anyone can see that. And the people who left, they didn't deserve to be in her life. The right person will stay." "Will they?" Alera asked, and she wasn't looking away, wasn't moving, her green eyes locked on Arya's with an intensity that made it hard to breathe. "Yes," Arya whispered. They stood there, inches apart, the air heavy with everything unsaid. Arya's hand was still against Alera's cheek, and Alera had lifted her own hand to cover Arya's, holding it there. "Arya," Alera breathed. I should go," Arya said, her voice unsteady. "It's late and—" "Let me pay you," Alera said quickly, already reaching for her purse. "For your time tonight. It's only fair."
"No."
The word came out more sharply than Arya intended. She softened her tone. "I didn't do this for money, Alera. I did it because you needed help. Because Olivia needed someone. Please don't make it transactional." Alera lowered her purse slowly, something like wonder crossing her face. "Why are you so kind to me? Why wouldn't I be?" Arya countered. "You've been nothing but kind to me. I gave you a job. That's not kindness, that's basic human decency. You defended me against Lucy. You filed a complaint against Robert when you didn't have to. You see me, Alera. You make me feel like I matter." Arya swallowed hard. Not many people do that. They were drifting closer again, pulled by some invisible force neither seemed able to resist. Alera's eyes dropped to Arya's lips, then back up. "You do matter," Alera whispered. "More than you know." Arya finally left. Alera walked her to the door.
"Thank you," she said again.
"For everything tonight." "Anytime," Arya replied and meant it. She was halfway down the driveway when Alera called out. "Arya?" Arya turned back. "Same time next Friday?" Alera asked, and there was something almost shy in her expression. "I have another late meeting, and I thought if you're free—" "I'm free," Arya said, her heart soaring despite all her warnings to herself. "I'll be here." Alera's smile was brilliant even in the dim light.
"Good.
That's really good." In the Uber ride home, Arya pressed her fingers to her lips, replaying every moment of the evening. The way Alera had looked at her. The touch of Alera's hand covering hers. The almost kiss. She was falling. God help her, she was falling for Alera Montgomery. And this time, she didn't think she had the strength to stop. The next morning Arya resumed work happily, still calculating everything that happened in Alera's house. Then she smiled and said to herself, Alera is not just a good woman, but she is extremely nice with soft heart. Arya cleaned the bathrooms properly and performed other of her work in the company. Friday became Arya's favorite day of the week. It started as a practical arrangement. Alera had late meetings, Olivia needed supervision, and Arya was available. But it transformed into something neither of them could quite name. Arya arrived at 6, and Olivia would run to greet her, throwing her small arms around Arya's waist with unrestrained joy. They'd cook dinner together, simple things like pasta. Olivia treated every meal like an adventure. They'd do homework at the kitchen island. They'd read stories curled up on the couch. And when Alara came home, usually around 10, she'd find them together. Olivia asleep against Arya's shoulder. Alara stood in the doorway, just watching, something soft and yearning in her expression that made her chest ache. Then would come the best part. After Olivia was tucked back into bed, Alara and Arya would sit together in the family room, drinking soft wine. They'd started with safe topics, work, current events, but gradually their conversations deepened. Arya learned that Alara had built Montgomery Enterprises from nothing, starting with a small tech startup. "I wanted to create a legacy," Alara said, curled up on the couch with her legs tucked beneath her, looking younger. "Something that would matter. Something that would prove I wasn't just floating through life, unanchored. Does that make sense?" "It makes perfect sense," Arya said softly. "You wanted to build something permanent in a world that felt temporary." Alara looked at her with such gratitude, such understanding, that Arya had to look away before she did something foolish like lean forward and kiss her. Alara learned about Arya too, about her college dreams of becoming a teacher, derailed by her father's medical bills and her mother's death from cancer her senior year. About Marcus, though Arya kept the details vague, unwilling to give him more power over her story than he'd already taken. About her love of poetry and art, passions she'd buried under the weight of survival. "You should go back to school," Alara said. "Finish your degree." "You're brilliant, Arya. You shouldn't be cleaning floors." "There's nothing wrong with cleaning floors," Arya replied, an edge of defensiveness in her voice. "It's honest work." "I know. I didn't mean it like that." Alara reached across the space between them and took Arya's hand. It was becoming easier. These small touches, fingers brushing when they passed wine cups. "I just mean you have so much more to offer the world. So much potential." "Do you understand what I'm saying, Arya?" Arya stood on shaking legs, her heart hammering against her ribs. "I think so." "I don't want to be sophisticated," Alara said, reaching up to cup Arya's face in both hands. "I want." Her voice broke. "I want you. God help me. I want you so much I can barely breathe when you're near me. I have wanted you too since that first day in the cafe, since you stood there looking at me like I was something worth seeing. But I'm scared. I can't survive being hurt again." "I would never hurt you," Alara promised fiercely.
Never.
"You're precious to me. Arya, you are very important to me." They were swaying closer, pulled by gravity, by inevitability, by months of denied wanting. Arya's eyes dropped to Alara's lips, then back up to those green eyes that held so much emotion it made her dizzy. "Can I kiss you?" Alara whispered. "Please? I've wanted to for so long." "Yes," Arya breathed. Their lips met softly, tentatively, a question and an answer all at once. Alara's hands trembled against Arya's cheeks. The kiss deepened naturally, Alara's tongue tracing the seam of Arya's lips until Arya opened for her mouth with a soft gasp. Alara tasted like wine. Arya's hands slid up into Alara's hair. Dislodging the messy, Alara made a soft sound of need, her hands sliding down to Arya's waist, pulling their bodies flush together. They kissed like they were starving, like they'd been waiting forever for this moment, like they might never get another chance. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Alara rested her forehead against Arya's. "Wow," Alara whispered. They stood there, wrapped in each other, hearts racing in sync. And Arya knew, with absolute certainty, that there was no going back from this. She'd crossed the line. She'd fallen completely, irrevocably in love with Alara Montgomery. And from the way Alara was looking at her, like she was everything, like she was home, Alara had fallen too. "Stay with me tonight," Alara whispered against Arya's lips. Arya pulled back enough to meet her eyes. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything," Alara said. She took Arya's hand, lacing their fingers together. I don't want to waste any more time being afraid. Life is too short. I want this. I want you. If you want me too. I do, Arya said simply. I really, really do. Alara smiled, then kissed her gently, her hand slid lower between Arya's thighs, finding her wet. And ready, please? Arya breathed, her hips lifting instinctively. I've got you, Alara promised, her fingers circling. When Alara finally touched her properly, Arya had to bite her lips to keep from crying out. Alara's fingers were skilled and sure, building a rhythm that had Arya climbing higher and higher. The next morning they tangled together. Good morning, my love, Alara whispered. Arya felt happy, falling in love again for the second time. They took their shower and left for work together. Alara pulled her sleek black car into the Montgomery Enterprise garage. Arya sat at the front seat. Then she said calmly, "Thank you." Alara turned to her with a smiling face. They stepped out of the car together, and Alara's hand touched Arya's lower back. Across the packing garage, Lucy stood frozen beside her own car, watching them. Her face was twisted with jealousy. Her hands clenched around her car keys. Her knuckles turned white. Hello, besties. If you are interested to know what happened in the next episode, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out. And don't forget to drop your sweet comments. I love you all for your supports.